Hello there everyone, and welcome to the video. If you couldn't tell what this video was going to be about based off of that lovely greeting, we are having a Star Wars based episode. For today, I wanted to find a way to combine the epic stories and abilities of the Justice League members and somehow find a way to add them within the Star Wars universe. This will allow me to interpret their stories within the Star Wars universe while also explaining why I went into the direction with their design. Before we get into the video, I'd like to say that you may drop suggestions like this or others for the future Our Time episodes on the Batwolf channel. So before I go on a rant about how awesome it'll be to see Batman with a lightsaber, let's take out our pencils and do it! The Wayne family was one of the leading members of the Galactic Senate and had fought for years to bring balance to the unfortunate in the Bellows of Coruscant. One day, Thomas and Martha Wayne were gunned down by a bounty hunter, leaving their son Bruce to their fortune and without any family left. Fortunately, the Jedi Council had sensed a disturbance in the Force and had sent Jedi Master Alfred to observe the situation. When he had found Bruce, he had discovered that he was Force sensitive and was now in deep feelings of sorrow and anger. Wanting to save him from a life of the dark side, Alfred had taken the boy and trained him to become a symbol of good. Bruce proved to be very clever and managed to master all forms of lightsaber combat with his purple lightsaber, signifying the balance of dark and light from within. However, his connection to the Force was conflicted, as neither the Force nor the Jedi did anything to help his family. When he reached the age of 18, he had found that the Jedi had a rather political sense than that of the Force that they so claimed to appreciate, which is why he left the Jedi Order so that he may discover other opportunities of the galaxy and also understand the criminal underworld that took his parents away from him. That way, he may defeat it. Bruce would travel the galaxy and learn some rare forms of combat and tech mastery. He would join a group of Mandalorians, and after defeating a giant bat in ceremonial combat, the forger Lucius Fox would create an armor of some of the rarest metals they could find, and placed the symbol of this great bat upon his chestplate. Bruce would one day return to Coruscant so that he may save the planet that his parents fought so hard to help. By day, it would seem that he would be just a wealthy man trying to make his way in the galaxy, but by night, he would grab his lightsaber and armor, donning them both, to become Batman, the Grey Jedi. For Batman, I went with the Beskar armor as it seems that he uses the best kinds of material for his batsuits. This version of Batman's utility belt, while basic, is still functional. I wanted to make it so that the majority of his amazing gadgets would be used through his armor like the other Mandalorians. In this case, I added a Batclaw grappling gun into his gauntlets like Boba Fett, and a grand amount of buttons that would control tons of weaponry and summon a bat-like Jedi ship. For his lightsaber, I made it so that it looked like it had the same colors Batman seems to use a lot in the comics, black, gray, and yellow, to show that this may be something that he would actually use. Also inspired by the Batclaw, I wanted to make it so that the mechanical claw texture was also added to the weapon, so imagine my surprise when I had found the amazing design of the Warglaive on the Ultra Saber's website. It's just perfect, as I thought that it matched exactly what I was going for, and I thought that its name was very much appropriate for his war on crime. His helmet was really fun for me to do because I got to imagine a whole bunch of ways that it would look compared to other Mandalorian helmets. So like other Star Wars helmets, I added a glowing white visor, in this case acting for the white eyes we see in the comic books. And so he could listen to a long range of transmissions on the planet, I added 2 antennas that act as the bat ears on his cowl. As for the background, I thought that it would be just perfect if I placed him in one of the more crime-filled locations on Coruscant, kind of like how it's seen in Rogue One and or the Clone Wars television series. I'm actually pretty happy with this design, as I feel like this is exactly what Bruce would do if he was in the Star Wars universe. With that said, this is my design for Batman the Grey Jedi. In the far borders of the Outer Rim, there was the planet Krypton, known for it to be very prosperous. It was especially known to hold some of the most powerful Force users of all time. However, the planet was currently being destroyed. Jor-El and Lara had sent their son Cal to the far reaches of space to save him from the planet's destruction from the Darkside Empire. His pod would land on the sands of Tatooine, and farmer John and Martha Kent had found the baby and renamed him Clark. From the very beginning, Clark proved to be very strong in the Force, but had hid his powers from others as he did not want to put his family in jeopardy. One day, his father had shown him the pod that they had found him in, and when Clark placed his hand upon it, a compartment opened up with a box inside. He opened the box, and inside was a transmission code and a lightsaber. The video was of his birth father, telling him that he was very powerful with the Force, so powerful that they had found that even as a baby his midichlorian count was more than they had ever seen before, and that he may even have unlimited power within the Force. The transmission of Jor-El had also informed the farm boy that he was perceived to be the one who would bring balance to the Force, and that he may be their only hope. The video had given him instructions to go to an old Jedi temple, and since he had felt the overwhelming call to action and pull to learn more about who he was, he left to go to that temple. Through his travels, Clark saw how mistreated the good people were in the galaxy by the overwhelming power of the Darkside Empire, and he knew, even if this wasn't his destiny and even if he wasn't a new hope, that he must bring them to justice. In the temple, he had found an entire section devoted to the House of El and wore the Kryptonian robes, spreading hope and change throughout the galaxy with his symbol upon his chest. He would use the Force to make a shield that was so powerful that it could disintegrate blaster fire, and had found that he was able to heal others with his powers and also levitate from the ground with his mind. However, through his missions of helping others and becoming a pain in the Empire's side, the rumors would sprout of a new hope in the galaxy, and since they did not know his name, all they were able to call him was the Superman. Now, originally I didn't really look forward to working on this design, but the more I worked on it, the more I really liked where it was going. For his robes, I wanted to do something a little bit more unique compared to the usual Jedi robes since we're working with a Kryptonian design. So I had looked on the internet and found these really cool looking robes which I had interpreted into his look. I know there's going to be some people who are going to be disappointed over the design I went with for the lightsaber, but I just thought that this was a Superman that would be so powerful within the Force that he would one day not even need a lightsaber. Kind of like Yoda or Darth Sidious or especially Lord Snoke. In this case, I thought that it would be really cool to at least have a lightsaber that had some sort of texture that looks like a Kryptonian would use. As I said, this is his father's lightsaber. Which is when I found myself back with Ultra Saber's website using their model called Archon, which, as I said, was perfect for his lightsaber design. Out of all the backgrounds I made for this project, I really like this one the most. I wanted to show that even in his relaxed meditation state like this, Superman would be one of the strongest Force users in Star Wars, which is why I added the swarm of Tatooine sands around him and reflected the bright Force power within his crystal. So this design and Batman's are really a neck and neck for which one is my favorite in this video, but I had fun making them both. While overall, Superman The New Hope came out really good, I gotta say that there are things I don't like about it. For example, I think that altogether the design is a little bit too simple. Maybe I could have had him in space, maybe using the Force a little bit more. Who knows? The other thing is that he kind of looks like a young Doctor Strange with the way the robes are presented. But hey, you know, my designs have gotten better recently, so hopefully the future looks bright. In ancient times, before there was the Republic or Empire, there was a group of female Force users who wished not to be at war with the Sith, but rather find peace. Seeing as peace was not an option, the female Force users traveled to a planet full of vegetation and used the Force to keep it hidden. It was apparent that the planet was unlike any other as it seemed to have all the resources that they needed and even made the women immortal. Seeing as this was a gift of the Force, Hippolyta, leader of these women, had prayed that she could have a child. One day, a child was born out of nothing but the mother's wish and the goodwill of the Force. Diana was born on the planet Themyscira and trained her whole life. As a child, it was perceived that she, as a child born of the Force, would one day leave the planet and fight the living embodiment of the dark side. As a child, Diana was very powerful in the Force, so powerful that she had a hard time containing her powers. She had struggled with this even into her adulthood. One day while she was relaxing on one of the nice beaches, she had a strong sensation with the Force to go into one of the nearby caves. When she went inside, she had found that there was a mine of kyber crystals that all lit up in her presence. Not too long after, a space pilot with the Rebel Alliance, Steve Trevor, had landed and informed them of the Darkside Empire and how their war is causing harm and deaths to millions. With this call for help, she had used the mine of crystals and the rarest metals on the planet to form some of the strongest Force weapons known in the galaxy. Her God-Killer lightsaber, her lightsaber lasso of truth, and her gauntlets of submission that can form a shield of energy. When she had left, she was given new armor and a starship that had the ability to turn invisible, which would naturally be called the Invisible Jet. Using her abilities and being a complete mystery to the men in battle, she would easily win many battles between her and the Empire, leaving all on her side speechless. She would continue on like this, and be called Diana, the Wonder Woman. For Wonder Woman's armor, I made it so that the color scheme had matched that of the Jedi Temple Guards, as I felt that their armor and traditions had a lot of the same pride that Diana takes in her Amazonian lineage from the comics. For her stance, I wanted to meet in the middle of her own style from the comics and Rey, as I think that their overwhelming powers really work well together. For this design, I didn't exactly want to just use any old lightsaber, as I thought that the God-Killer sword concept from Wonder Woman was really cool. So I thought that it would be perfect to add a sword-looking lightsaber by combining the two effects of the Kylo Ren lightsaber and the God-Killer sword and form them into one cool lightsaber. For the background, I made it so that Wonder Woman could either be on the jungles of Paradise Island and or one of the many planets that this version of Wonder Woman had saved. I actually don't have a lot to say about this design, as I kind of did the worst on hers, which is sad because I love Wonder Woman, but my skills have better since the last time these were drawn, so I think that I'll have a better shot for the next scenario that I'm doing on the channel. For now, here's if the Justice League was in Star Wars. Hey, so thanks for reaching the end of the video. Now, I know that it said that the Justice League was going to be in this, and I only did the big 3 members, but I figured if you really like these concepts and ideas that you would want me to do a second part. So, if you guys like this, then make sure that you go down in the comments and let me know if you want to do a part 2, where I could do other Justice League members like Aquaman, Flash, or Green Lantern, or even if you want me to do some of the villains like Zod or Darkseid. For my next Art Time scenario, I am doing a fusion episode between Marvel and DC Comics. So don't forget to tell me which fusions you would like for that episode, as I have already received some pretty epic ones. If you'd like to make a request concerning the next video or any other videos, then you could definitely go to the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, or you could use one of the many social medias listed here, as I am always posting stuff about what I'm doing for future projects on the Batwolf Enterprises channel. Until the next Art Time episode, this has been Batwolf, now putting my pencil down and howling out.